I get asked on a weekly basis for a showcase for my Krieg army as it currently stands. My usual reply to that is I'm kind of waiting until I'm finished the army to do a full-on showcase, but I realize that's probably not going to happen for many more years as I'm continuously adding new units and new tanks to this force month to month. So I decided what I'm going to do here is just give you a showcase of what I've got so far and give you guys a sneak peek at some of the awesome projects I have lined up in the very near future. If you like all things Krieg, don't forget to give this video a like, ask me any question in the comments, and make sure you subscribe, guys. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it means all the difference to us creators. If you want to see this channel grow to even bigger and crazier heights, perhaps you could think about signing up to the Patreon, and pledging at just a couple of euros a month can make all the difference to the channel. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at this army. Okay guys, so this is obviously going to be like a shaky cam kind of video. You're in my hands, and I'll try and keep it as steady as possible as I pan across this table and give you guys an idea of some of the forces that I currently have to bear for my Krieg army. So let's start with the bare bones. So the first thing that I did when I started this project is an infantry platoon. So that's what's here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10-man infantry squads led by a platoon command squad. There isn't really platoon command squads anymore. For any older guys, you know exactly what I mean. But yeah, that's what these are. And they are made up of a couple of different things. So for instance, this is actually a plastic squad of Krieg. I need to replace that with another resin squad. I do have the other resin squad to replace it, but I need to do that. So that is getting replaced. I'll let you know why in a little bit. And obviously these are the standard Krieg infantry. This is the at ease infantry, so you can see they're all standing still, chuffed with themselves. And then this is the advancing squad, so they're obviously moving forward, ready. Sorry, that's the advancing squad. So obviously I've got the awesome Krieg miniatures ready to rock and roll. I basically started with this, and every time I did a squad, I did a weapon team, and I kind of went back and forth during COVID getting these done. And before I knew it, I kind of had quite a sizable portion of infantry done. And I started to move on to some of the other crazy things like the artillery pieces and stuff like that. But we'll get to those in a minute. So for infantry, like I said, first thing was this 55-man strong platoon squad. We also added in 15 engineers. It's supposed to be 20, but I'm actually down 5 of them currently. I still need to get my hands on 5 of the resin engineers to make that 2 squads of 10, which pop up via the drills. I really like how the drills turned out. They're coming through earthworks or coming out of earthworks and stuff like that. I really like the kind of custom bases that we went for them. Kind of special. Very much sawed this one up quite a lot, so it's actually coming out of the ground. Not that it'll focus on that because it'll want to focus on what's behind it, but yes, we actually sawed that drill in half and have it coming up out of it. It's very cool. And of course we have the pair of mole launchers to go alongside that, and of course the little demolition tanks as well. So that was my engineering section. Like I said, it's still short another 5 engineers, but I'll get them built, or have to buy them at some stage and get them added in. It's kind of an annoying thing that I don't have. Now we move over to the elite infantry that make up the Krieg force. These are of course the Grenadier squads. Now I am not going to lie to you guys. These two squads are actually recasts. I could not for the life of me get my hands on real miniatures when I was kind of looking at building up the infantry side of this force. They were just not available, and where they were available on eBay and stuff, they were really, really expensive. So unfortunately I did find a recaster, and I managed to buy 2 squads of them. A funny story, when they arrived, they actually were all the wrong parts. They didn't have enough of this weapon and enough of that weapon, and it was from some dodgy, I don't know where I ordered, Chinese website. And I emailed them expecting nothing back, but they were super apologetic and they sent out all the replacement parts, super nice, and I managed to get them. So I was very happy to get them in the collection. I'm happy enough with that. Moving over to, of course, some basic heavy weapon teams. Now, my heavy weapon teams is kind of a sore point for me because I don't have enough of them. I have 2 autocannons, I have 2 heavy bolters, I have 1 las cannon, and I have 1 mortar. I cannot field a single heavy weapon team with the miniatures that I currently own, which is a real shame. I need to get another autocannon, another heavy bolter, 2 las cannons, and 2 mortars, which is a whole host of more weapon teams that need to be purchased. But like I said, I liked building up the earthwork embankments, giving them all proper trench vibes, some barbed wire and skulls and all that kind of stuff. So every single weapon team that I did has got those kind of custom bases, and I really like it. It really turned out well. We jump up to the medium-sized weapon teams now, and as you can see, they are another just incredible like addition to the army. Each one I basically made a diorama by itself. Have the built-up earthworks, I have the duckboard bases on the other side. The crew is all kind of doing its job, and yeah, they're all glued together, so that's one solid piece. I've obviously got 2 of the quad mortars and 3 of the kind of heavy mortars. I do have a third one of those to build and paint, just haven't got around to it just yet. As for other like infantry squads, we do have the very rare quartermaster kit. This is a pain in the backside to get. This has been a pain in the backside to get for many years now. It goes for quite an extortionate amount of money, and I actually very luckily have the rare Forgeworld Games Day exclusive quartermaster as well. He was a kind of a pain to get, but I'm lucky to get him. So yeah, quartermaster kit's very cool. If you don't know what quartermaster kits are, instead of having like commissars and stuff, really, they do have commissars, but it's basically a different rank that exists inside of Krieg. Krieg do not believe in waste, so when a soldier is mortally wounded, they give him the Emperor's Mercenary. So that's what the quartermaster is currently doing, drawing his las pistol to finish this guy off. And then these guys here will take his honorific roll, and this guy will take his equipment and stuff like that, and anything else that is needed. So they don't leave anything behind, no weapons, no uniforms, no boots, gloves. They take it all to be used by the next infantryman that comes off the line. Jumping up to my Death Riders, of course, quite an awesome squadron of Death Riders. I got a full 10-man squad of them. I've always wanted more of them as well. So rumors are Games Workshop is coming out with some plastic ones. That might be very nice. I would have loved to get a full 30 of the Forgeworld resin ones before they went away, but they're currently unavailable. I don't know if they will be back, which is kind of a real shame. So I would have loved a full 30 of them, but here's nothing. I also have basically a commander on horse as well. And not only that, I have once again, the rare Forgeworld exclusive commissar on horse as well. Will that focus? He's on a white horse to make him stand out a little bit. So yeah, the commissar on horse model is one of those ones that was quite hard to get for quite a long time. So very happy to have that as well. And that makes it my little cavalry detachment over there. Jumping over to the front, we have the actual Lord Commander of my entire Krieg force. I made him a very custom base, which I think is fitting for what he is. He's obviously standing on some broken trench, and there's just mounds and mounds and mounds of skulls in front of him, which kind of represents the idea that he will send wave upon wave of his own men in to die gloriously in the name of the Imperium to achieve his objectives. So he sat in with his traditional command squad, looking fairly nice. Here's the random assortment of extra characters I have for the army. That's where I put that quartermaster. I have one of the Krieg commissars here. I have Severina Rain for some reason. I just really like her. I think she fits in really well. Sanctioned Psyker painted in the same color scheme. And then just that little guy from Bottom Crag, if you remember him. I just like him being there for no particular reason. He just kind of suits for me. Okay, moving on to my artillery battery, which is this, which is of course one of my favorite things. And a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of pictures have gone out and people love it. So it is 3 basilisks, obviously on the nice wheels. I built them a custom base for them. All the duckboard is all on the inside. It's kind of hard to see. I'm really sorry about the poor lighting. And then of course each one of these heavy artillery pieces has 5 crew. So there's 15 crew done up for them specifically. So all the like spotters and loaders and the radio men and coordinate guys and all the different versions, they're all there, all painted up, ready to rock and roll. There's an extra one painted up. That's actually one of, that's a 3D print that I did. Really nice. So I actually have 2 more of them already printed. I just haven't assembled or painted them just yet. They're from Station Forge. I actually have a bunch of Station Forge stuff I will be talking about in the very near future, as in the next kind of 5 minutes or so. Okay, so that's kind of all of the infantry that I currently have available to my Krieg force. We then, of course, move up to the absolute mound of Imperial armor that I have access to for my Krieg army. So I am, without a shadow of a doubt, a collector at heart. I collect. I like to have one of everything, if not multiples of everything. It's not specifically about playing games. It's not like I do love playing games. I play a lot of games. But I don't have to build and paint something for the purpose of it ever being fielded on a table, if that makes sense. I like to own things, so I start to get things in collections and in sets. But that'll become more apparent in a minute. So some of the more simple things is, a pair of Chimera. They're all done up, ready to rock and roll in my Krieg colors. They usually ride alongside my Gorgon transporting 30. These two guys transporting 20, so full 50 Kriegsmen are kind of trundling across the battlefield in these 3 vehicles. That's Big Bertha, which is my Gorgon. She does have her chevron front as well to match in with the rest of her stuff. We have an old Imperial Griffin, which is a very, well, these days, quite a rare and hard to come by, especially in this condition. Imperial Guard tank. And what it was it is a Chimera chassis, so as you can see it is the same chassis as this. But it has a mortar on the back of it. Now, this thing kind of went away in 3rd edition. It's half metal, half plastic. So the gun, the platform on the back and stuff is all metal. And then obviously the core of the vehicle itself is plastic. So this was very, very kindly gifted to me by a friend of mine, Simon. So if for any reason, Simon, you're watching this video, I'm still very grateful for you for adding this into my collection. So I had a spare weapon team left over from these guys, so the 3 dudes. So I positioned them around the firing platform, painted it up as my Krag, and I will just use it as like a Medusa or something. I know the gun technically isn't big enough to be used as a Medusa, but it's such a cool tank that if I ever did want to field it, I would just use Medusa rules. Now, I do have a couple of Lehman Russ, standard Lehman Russ Vanquisher, but it does have the trench rails and the nice like filtration system, because Krieg, Death World, all that kind of stuff. We have one of the new, or the old, I'm trying to struggle with the name of it now. It's basically a Stug. It's a tank destroyer, turretless tank. I absolutely love that. It's one of the ones I did this year. One of the Horus Heresy tanks. So one of the things I've been doing, I've been stealing some of the tanks I've been sent for the Solo Auxilia. And I've just been incorporating them into my Death Korps of Krieg, because I feel like that kind of works. And this guy's called Spiker, and it just works. I think it's a really nice little artillery piece. And it suits. It's not the only tank I've stolen. There's, of course, the big armoured transport for the Solo Auxilia, which also, I believe, works in the Krieg colour scheme. I have Old Faithful here, which is the Lehman Russ that I did a whole video on. This tank was thrown out twice, and my parents took it out of the bin twice. Every time I went back into my old childhood bedroom, it was sitting on a shelf. So eventually it made its way back home to me, and I just didn't have the heart. This little tank that could refuse to be thrown out. So I repaired the whole thing, got it painted up, and now I'm absolutely delighted to own it and have it sat in my collection being a beast. Now these are the smaller tanks in my collection. We of course move up to some of the bigger tanks. So first of all, we have the awesome Flame Tank of Doom. This tank has a movable trailer. It moves around and actually goes around with the tank. So that's a really cool, it's quite a unique tank, large scale flamer, and I think it suits trench warfare. You can imagine the thing trundling across no man's land and then spouting out the death from the tip of its flamers. So really like that. Now, the Macarius tank is my favorite pattern of tank I think ever. I think that is just very, very beautiful. I love the shape of it, I love the aesthetic of it, I love it. So that's one pattern of it. There is four different versions of that tank exist. So there's one. I haven't finished the rest, but here's two with the Vulcan Mega Bolters. I don't have the one with the battle cannons yet, which is kind of driving me nuts. And then here's the super rare plasma version of it, the Macarius Omegan, which I had to buy off eBay for, I think, about 400 quid. So that was painful. As you can see, it has a bunch of old Chaos Brass etchings on it. It has been besmirched, and it just needs a lot of TLC. So as soon as I figure out a safe way to strip paint off of Forgeworld resin, I will be stripping that. I've got the new crew all designed inside, and I'm very much looking forward to the rescue mission of getting that done. But like I said, the Macarius, I absolutely adore the Macarius tank. I think it's amazing. We have my pair of Bane Blades, one being a Shadow Sword and one being or Fell Blade. Sorry, Shadow Sword, and one being my traditional Bane Blade. This, very similar to this, is I did a whole video on this, Primus, which is one of my Bane Blades. And I only did this like a couple of weeks ago. It's the newest edition of my Krieg Force. Now, this, once again, was left in my parents this was never thrown out though, but it was abandoned on a shelf in my old bedroom for 17 years. I bought it and built it the day it came out. The day Bane Blades hit the shelves, this guy was purchased, and that night it was built. And I never had the courage to do anything with it, so it just got left behind and abandoned. Finally got it back, got it cleaned up, got it painted up, and I'm so happy to see it in my collection. I'm so pleased. Obviously, the big plasma boy is quite special. He is an absolutely beautiful tank. This is my favorite Baneblade variant. I've always liked the big plasma. And this one is incredibly rare. I've done an entire video on this as well. The reason it's so rare, it has a very, very, very rare upgrade kit, which turns it into the Krieg variant of this tank. I'd never even heard of this. I basically came into possession of a huge like second-hand collection of Krieg parts, all still in their bags, all still labeled, and one of them was a Krieg upgrade for this tank. I don't know, I didn't even know it existed. I have the name for it and everything in that video, so if you want to check it out, you can check it out yourself. But obviously you get the additional vents and ports and stuff like that. This whole panel is totally different to the traditional one, and there's a huge big ventilation system that goes up over the top of its engine base and gives it that entire profile. So super happy to have that. Just another thing like ticked off to have in the collection. A little Station Forge Krieg diorama I did for one of Station Forge's little competitions. I have the Iron Duke, which is an Arch Villain Games giant robot that I did for a video, and in my head it's like you know, first edition version of a knight. So what was the first old school like Mark I knights, and it kind of reminds me of the, if you've ever seen Pacific Rim, the big Russian mech that kind of looks much older, much kind of sturdier, a little bit shorter, a little bit squatter. So this is something that I think the Krieg have had their hands on for thousands of years, and they keep it going. It still fights for the Emperor, so they keep maintaining it. So the Iron Duke still marches to war alongside the veteran guardsman and does his job. I just count it as a knight in the games. One of the new Solar Auxilius Sentinels, Heavy Sentinels, is there as well. One of my Thunderbolts, which you're wondering, that's not a real Thunderbolt. No, it's not. It's another Station Forge tank or plane. But don't worry, I do actually own, and it's plans for the future where I drop these on my infantry. These are 2 full Forgeworld Thunderbolts, which I had bought years and years ago and never done anything with. Super pleased to still have them, and they will at some stage be sat kind of there, hovering up above the army force, a pair of Thunderbolts, which I think will be super cool. So that's a lot of the like heavy tanks and stuff like that. Like I said, there's a couple of projects over here, a pair of Macaris. This one doesn't need TLC, this is just painting. I built this, got it cleaned up, so it's totally ready to go. This needs a lot of love. I also built this, which is the Rise of Pattern Lehman Russ Vanquisher, which of course has the extended back compartment, the trench rails, the exhaust system, and is just ready to be used and fielded. I also built and repaired this, which is another Lehman Russ, which was in a very bad way. And someone, a very nice person, donated this turret to me, which is one of the original. You can see the color of the resin. It's not even not real, it came in the actual baggie still, the Forgeworld baggie. But this old chassis tank, I tried to do a conversion years ago and I just made a mess of it. So this little hull just got left behind. So once I got this turret, I just did what I could, repaired what I could, and got it ready to spray. So that's another project to be done. Another big project to be fixed up is this. This is obviously in a very, very filthy and sorry way. It was part of an old Games Workshop Dublin store army. It's 12, 13, 14 years old at this stage. And I rescued it when I left the store. It was going to be dumped. All the parts are actually still here, so I still have its turrets. Even the little barrel broken off the back is still there. I've got some very sexy plans for that, joining the 2 other super heavies. So we'll have those 3 Baneblades all fighting together at some stage. And then, of course, we have more infantry to add in. So like I said, I've got the resin platoon there. This is my plastic platoon. So I have bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 box sets of veteran Kriegsmen. So 70, and I have 2 boxes of the kill team that I came in, so that's 90 plastic Krieg. So the particular pile that I have here, the plans for them are, one is already opened. You can see there is that top box is open. What I bought that box for was to cannibalize the crew, the guys inside, to make tank crews. So that's actually a model from that box set, and that's actually a model from that box set. So I make some alternative tank commanders for some of my tanks. There's a reason that a bunch of tanks currently don't have tank commanders in them, because I have yet to kind of crack open some more parts out of that kit and get it built. Then we have 6 fully sealed box sets of the veteran guardsmen. So the plan is a full 55-man platoon once again. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10-man squads. And out of the other 10-man box set, we're going to use that to make a command squad. So That will be my second platoon, because I do think that my tanks outnumber my infantry a little bit too much. I think there's like 15 pieces of armor on the table at the moment, or 14 painted, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and more to come. There's another 2 in those white boxes there, Imperial Guard tanks that need to be built. So yes, there's a lot. Like a lot. So yeah, so we've got another platoon of them, and then I've also, like I said a couple of times before, I'm a big fan of Station Forge. Station Forge are obviously responsible for a few bits and pieces on the table. They're responsible for that diorama thingy. They're responsible for my Thunderbolt. Really cool things like this is my Ogryn Bodyguard in Krieg colors, really like that. My other unit of alternative Rough Riders, which are all kind of riding dirt bikes. Here's one that I actually painted up, which you can't see because why would cameras ever focus? Here he is. Absolutely incredible models. Love them very, very, very much. So I have a full 10-man squad of them done up. One of them even has a bloody sidecar with a heavy stubber on it. How cool is that? So Station Forge are, like, I think Station Forge are my, like, I think they do the best alternative guardsmen. And obviously I didn't realize that they were going to go and release a whole heap of plastic Krieg moving forward. So I was kind of, in my head, I was like, I've kind of collected all the Forgeworld stuff that exists, but I'm not really finished with my army. So I want some more custom stuff. So they kept making custom files, so I kept printing and painting and loving. So yeah, so much so that I have an entire, Station Forge platoon ready to go as well. So let me fix that again so it doesn't fall on my hand. So it is another full platoon. It is 6 10-man squads plus a 5-man command squad plus a commissar and a few extra characters. So I have already done a tester and painted up one of them to see how they would look. So this is what a Station Forge Kriegsman looks like. And all I can say is it's absolutely beautiful. So yes, I'll be more than happy to shout out to Warmag for the cases. They're awesome. Yeah, so I've got these guys to build and paint as well. So with those two kind of future projects, that means there will be 3 full platoons, which is of course 465 infantry. I think that's enough infantry to justify the number of tanks, number of artillery, and the number of extra bits and pieces that I have available for myself for this project. So yeah, this is my Krieg army as it currently stands. I don't think I missed anything on the table, but knowing me, I probably did. Oh, I did, look. Look at the little tow truck, look at this thing. Oh, no, focusing on the wall. Look at this. So this is a little artillery tractor. It's got a, if it'll ever continue focusing on it, little tow hitch and stuff. So it actually tows these guys all of the so you can basically have that. That's how they get into combat. So each one of these would have one of these tractors alongside of it, and the crew would fit inside that, and it would kind of drive to where it needs to be and then get deployed. I only have one of these. I wish I had more. Maybe sometime in the future I'll be able to get my hands on them. Now I don't think I forgot anything. I think that's my entire Krieg force as it currently stands. Well, there we have it. That is my Krieg army as it currently stands. I would love to know your thoughts on the force. Do you think it's big enough? Do you think it's not big enough? Do you think it's ridiculous? What would you do different? What would you change? What would you add? What do you think? So it's one of my armies that I'm particularly proud of. It has taken many, many, many hours and too much money to get it to this stage. And I have no inclination to stop anytime soon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You've been asking for quite a long time. So I hope it sates all your curiosity when it comes to my Krieg army. And you're happy to leave me alone for another little bit until I do another huge portion of it. And then I will come back with another review maybe in another year or two. So yeah, enjoyed the video. Give it a like, comment, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to check out my Patreon, it is linked down below. Like I said, that's the thing that helps push creators further and further, allowing us to venture out and do other crazy projects without worrying about YouTube paying our bills. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say, guys. See you in the next video.